Right, let's go. FM21 wish list right here. I've got 5 things, a couple that are new features, a couple of things that need tweaking, a couple of things that need sort of like changing altogether. Let me know down in the comments which ones of these you enjoy. What would you like to see in FM21? Make sure you like today's video for me. Subscribe if you are new. Lots of FM21 content coming out. We have weekly 2-minute videos that are quick tips and guides. Every Monday there will be a special one series which is starting at Jose Mourinho's hometown club Vitória Setúbal. They've got an interesting story, but that's for another video. Our stream series will be PFC Sochi, a relatively new club, a kind of an MK Dons of the Russian Premier League. We're going to start with them, and also we're doing Basque or Nothing, the Basque only transfer policy, obviously featuring Athletic Club Bilbao. So there's going to be 2 main saves on the channel, a stream series on a Sunday night, and then, of course, we can't forget Spurs for the beta. All right, guys, let's get into my FM21 wish list. All right, so as I said, I've got 5 things. We're going to start small, then we'll start with my biggest idea towards the end. The first thing is more of a tweak. Now, I know Loki Doki has mentioned these. I don't think he actually mentioned it in this year's video. I can't really remember. I don't think he did, but he's always had a problem with goalkeepers. Now, I'm not going to really get into too much the animations. The animations and the graphics of the goalkeepers was improved recently. Just a couple of things that Football Manager really and SI really need to look at for FM21. Okay, average ratings for goalkeepers, generally below 7. They must have an absolute worldie to get above a 7, so that's a given. I don't think the role of a goalkeeper as well in FM20 has been that important. I'm currently playing with a very, very average goalkeeper, sort of like a championship goalkeeper, in my York City save, and he's been more than adequate. Doesn't let me down. So I kind of think there needs to be a thing. There needs to be a twist of how important goalkeepers are. Me personally, I don't think they've been that important over the last couple of years for FM. Goalkeepers never get injured during games. They may get injured during the season, but they never get injured, and they never get sent off. So big changes needed there. I have not seen my goalkeeper sent off or injured during a game for a couple of years now. Definitely 0 in FM20. I've not even played goalkeepers on the bench unless I'm playing in like Turkey where I need 10 subs, or Italy where you need sort of like 11, 12 subs. I never have a goalkeeper on the bench, and I think that needs to change in order to be even more realistic. You know, goalkeepers get sent off pretty easily. They can soon get injured. So that needs to be something in order for me to have to do the game properly. Not cheating. I suppose I am cheating a little bit when it comes to it. If I'm naming 7 subs, one of them really needs to be a goalkeeper. But if for MFM20, you've not needed to do that. So that needs changing. And then I want to see more mistakes from goalkeepers. Now, I don't think the match engine highlights it enough, but I want to see a few balls coming into the box, maybe. Keeper coming out and catching it for probably well over 1,000, God knows how many goals have been scored during my FM20 journey. I've not seen that many actually balls come in, goalkeeper crosses it. I must have seen less than maybe half a dozen in that time. You know, little things. We have the playing out from the back, that sometimes goes wrong, but yeah, a couple of or the ball actually properly going through his legs, not as in the match engine where it mystically goes through, but I want to see the goalkeeper going down and going through his legs, goalkeeper hands on his head because he's made a fuck up, that kind of thing. So the first thing is the goalkeepers. We need to get that one sorted. Right, number 2 is the AI clubs and what they sometimes do in transfers and with players that are out of contract. So, perfect example, Erling Haaland. I bought him for my Fenerbahce save, I think quite late in, about season 4. He was still at Salzburg. I paid his release clause of 19.25 million, right? We'd come to me, Fenerbahce, Champions League standard club. We won the Europa League, so we're big, but not in the big leagues. I think we're ranked about 9th or 10th now in the coefficient. He wants to leave, which is fine. We've improved him to the point where he's probably one of the best strikers in the game. I think the 2 seasons he scored over 30 goals in both seasons. I'm ready to cash in and make some money on him. So he wants to leave. I've kind of said no. And then in come the bids. Now, bear in mind I paid 19.25 million. That was his release clause. But for one of the best strikers in the game, he was valued, and at about 25, 26, he was valued at 14.25 million. So over that summer, I must have rejected well over 60, 70 bids. Easy. 14.25 million, 14.25 million, 14.25 million. His asking price was 80 million. I had it at 80 million. was completely ignored. And I know, yes, you could say you can just put reject offers under a certain thing, but I don't like to do that. I want to see the offers coming in. And when I set my asking price at 80 million, I expect offers in and around 80 million. For one, he shouldn't be valued at 14.25 when he's one of the best strikers in the world. Absolute bollocks. So that's definitely something that needs changing. You know, if I reject one bid of 14.25, there's no point 2 days later coming in again with the same bid and the same bid and the same bid and the same bid. And in the end, I did sell him, but I had to offer him out for 80 million, and luckily Arsenal were stupid enough to take the price. But yeah, and they also paid 80 million with 1 year left on his deal, which was odd. So the transfers and how they act needs to be tweaked. Second thing, AI for the AI clubs. So another example is managing York City, second season, I'm in the Vanarama North. Big club, York City in that standard, some full-time players. I decided that because we didn't get promoted, in the first season, that I wanted to really clear out a lot of the squad. So there was 5, 6, 7 players, very good players. One of them was Jordan Burroughs. He scored like 20 goals for me that season, but he wanted more money, so we didn't agree a deal. And then 3 months down the line, I go, I wonder where all the players are at. I think 9 out of the 10 players that had probably left didn't have clubs. And then by the end of the following season, they'd all retired at the ages of 26, 27. So that needs to be changed. Now, I'm not talking about playing in the in-game editor and sort of like playing in Tier 10. I'm talking about playing in the proper game. They should be able to find clubs for these players. Even if it is lower leagues, the lower clubs are still down in the division. Some players are already at clubs anyway that are out of the game in sort of like your Northern Premier, is it the Ishman League or whatever it used to be called anyway. So yeah, for me playing that lower league save, that was a really frustrating part, that a lot of players would retire at the ages of 24, 25. Alex Kempster, who was on my thumbnail for the whole series, he had him for 3 seasons. He was wanted by a couple of clubs when I was in League 2. He ended up retiring at like 26, 27, which is poor, really. Unrealistic. It needs to get sorted. Right, number 3. Match engine. Graphics, yeah. I am happy with the engine, how it looks. The players, don't want really an improvement in. People say about FIFA and all this stuff. I don't even want it to be improved that way. I just want to see better things in terms of how the game interprets it. So I always panic when my fullback has a throw-in, because 9 times out of 10, that's a way for the game to turn possession of when a Premier League right back will just throw the ball to one of their players. Another turnover in possession is when your player will have the ball in the centre midfield and he'll just stand still. He stands still with it, like completely stands still, and gets tackled, and then they're off and they break. Another one, ball goes down in a channel. Your defender for some reason tries desperately to try and keep it in, stops it. The other team normally nick in and score. So there's 3 examples of things that just need to be changed. Your centre midfielder's not going to stand still on the ball. We need to see a little bit more. It's never going to be great, but I'd like to see, if my centre midfielder loses the ball, he might just need to move a little bit just to make it a little bit more realistic. Is my centre half going to make a mistake by stopping the ball? No. Can my right back actually throw the ball to one of his players 99 times out of 100? It's amazing how many times the possession gets turned over in those scenarios. And everything just needs tweaking. The match engine was still way off with one-on-ones and squaring balls, and I think that stuff should be fixed. I'm not asking for amazing things to happen with the match engine. If they can just, a lot of FM20 just needed tweaking. So if they can just tweak little things and make sure that when my player gets in down the line, maybe 1 out of 5, he might decide to shoot, but the other 4 out of 5s, he wants to be squaring it to the striker who's 6 yards out from goal and got an open goal. If they can sort that out, get rid of the standing still on possession, the random left back charging all the way across the other side of the pitch to cut out a cross. I want to actually see more stopped crosses. I want to see more pressure on the ball. So when they go and when a fullback goes down and closes, it's like you've got 2 options. They either go and slide in and do a tackle, or they just stand there and do absolutely nothing. So I want to see more maybe movements where a cross is blocked. We never rarely see sort of like crosses blocked and go out for corners. And I want to see a little bit more of that in the game. Obviously there'll be crosses blocked and stuff like that, but I want to see the actual leg sticking out. A few more handballs would be good as well. Yeah, so just a few tweaks in the match engine. As I said, I'm not expecting amazing things. Just step it up a little bit. Just a little bit. Right, number 4. I don't know if this is one that people are going to agree with or not. I want to see a little bit more player misbehaving and players in the media, and a little bit more of, like, perfect example, the whole issue that the England players had, Foden and Greenwood, where there's a scenario where you as an England manager, you as a club manager, really has to make a decision on what to do with these two players. It might also come from the board where they say, right, we're not happy with this player because he's been caught doing something, whatever. I don't know how SI would feel about having a sort of like a random thing in where it generates every so often it generates something, and it'll be a real player as well. So it might say, look, like Jack Grealish has been done for drink driving. What are you going to do about it? Us as a club, this is what we need to do. Just, I know it might be, they may not want to put stuff so bad with and connect it with players' names, if you know what I mean, but I think there needs to be something there where a lot of the times the managers now, instead of talking about tactics in press interviews and stuff, they're talking about the behaviours of their players. I think it's come a little bit about being spotted out late and stuff, but it's probably not as enough, and there's not as much attention on it as what there is nowadays. And now it seems Football Manager might be going that way about the sort of like the social media. They've got the media feed and they kind of shove things in to start with without having anything about it, you know, in terms of like data analysts and stuff and social medias now. So over the next few years, they may just start tweaking those little roles and features to make it more usable and give the managers and the clubs something to think about. All right, that's the 4th one, right? The big one is a new career mode feature. This is a feature that I think for content creators would love and for really hardcore players. Okay, so in career mode, you can be whoever you want. You could start as whatever you want, which is fine. I do have a little issue with like people that do, not an issue, but people who start a journeyman start on no qualifications. Well, if you start on no qualifications, you're probably not going to get a job in the Conference South or Conference North. I think most managers and coaches, especially managers in the Conference North and Conference South, will probably have a pro license and at the very least an A license. So that is all, and then you kind of build up your reputation through that. I kind of think it's not really a realistic way to go. So with more input and more head coaches coming in and more director of football roles being more prominent in the game and more selection committees, what I would like to see is a new career mode. It'd have to be set separately where you can start off as unemployed in the game and then you're offered a job. So when you're offered a job, you get told what you're allowed to spend. You get told what wages you're allowed to spend. They may say you're not responsible for transfers. They may say you're just responsible for coaching the players and getting staff in or something like that. From there, as you build up in your career, you'll be able to ask for more control. Your reputation gets bigger when you get offered a job at maybe, I don't know, a Chelsea maybe, where managers like Frank Lampard are quite generally active in player recruitment. And then it could be a case of, you know, if you're offered the Tottenham job or another job and they say, right, this is the job. If you want it, you're not allowed to do transfers. But then as your reputation grows, you can say, right, well, if you want me as manager, you then need to allow me to do transfers. So stuff that can be done negotiating. I think it's a realistic approach to it. I wouldn't put it in the general game because some players like me, especially, I do like to control everything from youth development, getting the staff in, etc. So, but I think as a different career mode, you'd start maybe, you don't need to start unemployed, but you'd start at a club who has a fixed in-game sort of like policy that you need to follow. Some clubs may let you do transfers, hire staff, training, transfers, the lot. Some clubs will not. I don't want to see asking for stadium expansions. I don't want to see about asking for new stadiums and little shitty things like that. Just unrealistic things in the game that a manager would never ask. Can you make the stadium bigger, please? Just absolute rubbish. So, yeah, the whole dynamic of the of the staff would need to be better. Your director of football roles will need to be better. There's no point doing the game based on the FM20 sort of like director of football that'll spend all your transfer budget on a left back when you've already got 2 awesome left backs. So it needs to be tweaked that way, but it'd be something that would be quite good as not so much a storytelling point, but an opportunity to develop in the game in a real decent long career mode where you start obviously at the bottom, you don't have much experience, so you've kind of just got to take a job and get on with whatever role, whatever the club tells you they want. That's what you've got to stick to. Obviously there'll be opportunities for you to join other clubs. Not all clubs will be the same, so you may your first job will obviously be a lower league team, but you still might be able to sign players, etc. So yeah, it needs to be tweaked. The whole staffing thing needs to be changed anyway. The board have that random question at the start of pre-season when they ask you, let's discuss the wages for physiotherapy, and you're like, what? So there's that. And then in the career mode, I would also like to see, it could be probably put in both bits, but training. So most of the time I get my assistant manager to organise the change schedule, and I will have to go in. I will go into the game, into the training, and then just change things. So especially today, my Arsenal save, over the last 3 games, we've conceded so many goals from set pieces. So I've gone in, changed some of the training to defending set pieces and corners and free kicks and stuff. So what would be nice to do is, because obviously coaching teams do this, is have a meeting, maybe Monday morning or day after a game, gather your thoughts a little bit. What maybe this manager comes with a recommendation, a coach comes with a recommendation, and then you say to your coaches, this week I want to make sure from Monday to Thursday or before the next game that we have trained in 3 key areas that I want us to do. I want us to look at our defensive positioning, our position on corners, set pieces, free kicks, things like that. Rather than just going in and changing the schedule, it'd be good if they could have some kind of proper meeting, not just a page that it says we should go on cautious next time. It should be a physical meeting of some point where you answer, a little bit like the press, where you ask questions, the press asks you questions, you fire an answer. It'd be good if you could maybe do that with your assistant manager. I think very realistic in terms of the game, and something that could be definitely useful without having just to go in and change the calendar. So yeah, I think that's 6. I suppose you could include that as 6. So there's my 5. Change the goalkeepers, the average ratings, how important they are, I think, to a team. They never get injured, never get sent off. The AI clubs sorting out the transfer bids and players retiring young, low in the lower down leagues. The match engine and graphics, just a few little tweaks would be good. Not standing still on the ball. Goalkeepers maybe making a few mistakes. Crosses put in properly, etc. Social media and players' behaviour or misbehaviours. I think that's a really good one to have in, I think. And then number 5, the new career mode, where you were approached by a club and you've got to, if you want a job, you might have to follow their set way. So you may not be in charge of everything. And as your career builds up, you then get the opportunity to say, right, if I'm signing a new contract, I want to have a say in this. It may be a case of we have 3 and maybe a case of a middle ground where you're not in charge of transfers, but you tell the director of football, go get me a left back. I need a left back. Or I say, I want a left back. Here are my 3 recommendations. Make sure you get me one of those 3, please. Or it could be just a case of director of football is in charge of transfers and you get on with it. So there's plenty of things that I think are already in the game, could be made better, and then putting it in as a proper career mode would be fantastic. And the last one, as I said, just improving the staff, talking to your assistant manager in proper meetings and stuff would be good in terms of match preparation and training for the week ahead. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think to those 5.5 suggestions. Muchly appreciated. And like today's video and get ready for loads of content on FM21. Cheers, guys. See you later.